Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Now, things have it that I was watching Undisputed a little bit, and the thing is this. Everyone is basically saying, well, the Ravens aren't going to get any receivers because Lamar Jackson can't throw and all of this stuff. It's like, everyone says that he can't throw, saying that, or he can't throw like he can't basically throw he can't throw on a consistent basis. He can't throw at all and stuff. And basically a receiver who's a top receiver really isn't going to come there, because of the fear that they won't be receiving passes as much. So, and basically what Shannon's saying is that receivers aren't going to, they're not going to basically want to play because Josh Allen, you know what I'm saying, like they'll play with him because he has an arm like Pat Mahomes. So let's look at something real quick. Now, for a career, Lamar Jackson's played in 46 games. And his QB record is 30-7. He's 64%. Is his completion percentage. He's thrown for over 7,000 yards for a career, and his yards per average are 8, with 68 touchdowns to 18 interceptions. Now let's look at Josh Allen has played in 44 games, which is 2 less than Lamar. His QB record is 28-15. His completion rating is 62%. His yards are 707 yards, which is 2,000 yards more than Deshaun. He has, I think, a stronger arm than Deshaun. He can throw the ball down the field a little further. Yards per average is 7 compared to Lamar's 8 yards per average when he's throwing. And he has 67 touchdowns to 31 interceptions, where Lamar has 68 touchdowns to 18 interceptions. So, Lamar's going to have less interceptions because he runs the ball too. A little more than Josh does. Now, in Lamar Jackson's first year, let's see. He played in 16. He was there for 16 games. He started 7. His QB record was 6-1. His completions were 99 out of 170 because he attempted 170. And he was throwing the ball for 58%. He threw 1,201 yards, 6 TDs to 4 is his TD percentage he threw. Which he averaged 3 picks and yards gained per pass attempt was 7. His QBR, which is 43%. I go by QB rating more than QBR because to me QBR is very deceptive. So, and it's only been calculated since 2006. So I go by the quarterback rating. which is used by the NFL and the NCAA. This is how they tell how good or great their quarterbacks are. Don't go by the QB rating. I just go by the quarterback, not the total quarterback rating, but the quarterback rating itself. QBR is basically they're saying they're combining everything, and to me that's just dumb. Just the regular quarterback rating. He was 85. He was sacked 16 times. Okay, so he had one game-winning drive. Now his second year, he missed one game. He started all 15 of his games. His record was 13-2. He threw for 265 completions out of 401 attempts. 66% is his completion percentage, and his yards were 3,127 with 36 TDs, average 9. He has 6 picks to his 36 TDs. So he's not a real turnover-prone guy. And his rating that year was 113.3. He was sacked 23 times. And he had 2 game-winning drives. In 2020, he played only in 15 games because remember he sat out due to COVID. His record was 11-4. His completions were 242 out of 376, which gave him a 64% completion rating. He threw for over 2,000 yards, which is 2,757, 26 TDs, 9 interceptions. His QB rating was 99.3. So for his career, he has had a 103 QB rating. A 103. And he's been sacked a total of 68 times. He was sacked 29 times last year. And he had 1 game-winning drive. Now let's go to Josh Allen. Josh Allen's first year, he played in 12 games, started 11. His QB record was 5-6. His completions were 169 of 320, which he was completing at 53%. And he threw for over 2,074 yards, 10 TDs to 12 interceptions. His QB rating was 68. Compared to Lamar. Lamar's was at 85. Josh was at 68. Now, the second season, he got better. He played in 16 games, started 16. He went 10-6 as a quarterback, 271 out of 461 attempts. So he was at 59%. And he threw for 3,089 yards. He had 20 TDs to 9 interceptions. He got better, throwing the ball better. His QB rating was at 85 this year. He was sacked 38 times, where he was sacked 28 last year. He was sacked 38 times. Game-winning drives in his first year, he had 3 game-winning drives. And then he had 5 game-winning drives in 2019. So basically it's showing that he's a little clutcher, it looks like, than Lamar. And he was sacked 38 times. Compared to Lamar's 23, Lamar ran the ball a lot more. So that's the reason why Josh Allen I have more sack. He'll be sacked more because he throws from the pocket a lot more. But he can run as well if you give him the time. To me, he's like Ben Roethlisberger. That's who he reminds me of. His third year, which was last season, he started 16 games. And he played 16, went 13-3. Completions was 396 out of 572. And his completion rating jumped from 59 to 69. I wonder why. Does Stephon Diggs give you any any anything in that conversation? He threw for over 4,000 yards and 4,544 yards, 37 TDs to 10 interceptions. His rating was 107.2. It jumped from 85 to 107. And his game-winning drives, he had 3 of them. And his QB rating was 107. So his QB rating overall is 90 compared to Lamar's 103. Now, basically, I'm not trying to say, or I'm not trying to dish Josh Allen, because I'm a Josh Allen fan. I like Josh Allen. I just think that he's getting overglorified. The 2 seasons he didn't have a number 1 receiver, he was throwing. Now, compared to Lamar has had no number 1 receivers. Lamar Jackson has completed the ball at a better rate than Josh Allen. The first 2 years, Josh Allen was in the low 50 and in the high 50. Lamar Jackson was in the low 60s, almost mid 60s, both his first 2 years. Well, his whole 3 years, if you look at their completion rating, Josh Allen's at 62%, Lamar's at 64%. And Lamar, after his first year in the 2 seasons without, he's had no number 1 receiver. He's been completing the ball very well. Now, granted, he does run a lot. But if you think about it, if he's had a number 1 receiver like Josh Allen had with Stephon Diggs, I believe Lamar Jackson's numbers will go up. But because of Shannon Sharpe and the rest of the media, they keep feeding you lies saying that he can't throw. Well, he can throw. He's completing in the 60 percentile. Lamar Jackson's problem has been throwing outside the numbers. But guess what Josh Allen's problem was? Before Stephon Diggs came, is throwing outside the numbers. Now, he can throw the ball downfield because he has a strong arm. To me, he reminds me of Michael Vick a little bit with his arm strength. He can throw long, but his accuracy comes in it and it goes, especially when if you take Stephon Diggs away and take away Cole Beasley, he's very ineffective, and that's what we've seen. Lamar Jackson, he's had no real good receivers, and he's been able to be successful. Now, in the playoffs, he's 1-2, I believe, or 1-3, but Josh Allen just now got in the playoffs and got to the next round after winning his first playoff game, which was against Lamar. He lost the next game against the Chiefs. Because what the Chiefs were doing, they took away his number 1 guy and they forced him to throw in between. He has trouble throwing in between the numbers as well as outside. Lamar doesn't have a problem throwing in between the numbers. He actually throws the ball a lot more accurate than Josh Allen if you watch the games in between the numbers than Josh does. Josh is more downfield. Now, Josh Allen, as far as throwing the ball deep downfield, he throws it a little more effectively, but not too much effectively than Lamar Jackson. Now, in the clutch, Josh Allen has came up big a lot more than Lamar in the clutch. When Lamar is down, he really doesn't do well. Total game-winning drives, Lamar has 4 compared to Josh Allen's 11. So Josh Allen in the clutch is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson from looking at it and watching the games. Josh Allen in the clutch really makes some big plays. I'm not even taking that from him. But why is the perception that Lamar Jackson can't throw? I don't get it. Because he runs a lot more? I guess that's why people have this in their brain saying, you know what, he can't throw. Why is that? To me, Greg Roman isn't very creative. The thing that messed him up was he didn't add more to the packages, or he didn't add more plays, throwing passes, throwing plays. If you're running the same sets and you're not switching up the plays being called, You're going to be very predictable. And that's all Lamar Jackson was saying. Everyone blasted Lamar Jackson like he didn't know what he was doing. It wasn't that. I understood what he said. But see, people are so stupid. They're so quick to hate on him because he's the black quarterback. Black quarterbacks get hated on all the time. They're always dubbed as a running quarterback. They're always dubbed as having a low IQ. But if you don't elaborate or open the playbook up more or expand on the plays, how do you know he can't process it? If you watch Lamar Jackson in college at Louisville, each year Lamar Jackson's passing rating and throws got better. He was becoming an effective passer. And he lessened his running a lot in college. So now he's gotten better at passing, but people are still doubting him, saying he can't throw consistently. Why? Because he's not in the pocket. Aaron Rodgers isn't a good pocket passer. If you want to be honest, Aaron Rodgers makes a lot of his plays rolling to his right or rolling outside the pocket. He's not a good pocket passer because if you watch the games that he's lost in the playoffs, he was forced to stay in the pocket and pick you apart, and he can't do it well. But we don't criticize Aaron Rodgers. We say he's one of the greatest throwers of the football ever. And get this, his playbook is a lot wider and vast than what Lamar's is. And guess what? Aaron Rodgers has always had a number 1, number 2, and number 3 receiver. Back when Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, remember that? And he had that tight end. Then from them transitioned Devontae Adams, Lazardo, Randall Cobb. He's always had weapons. Josh Allen had Cole Beasley early on. Then they got Stephon Diggs, and they had that tight end as well. Lamar Jackson has Hollywood Brown and Willie Snead. These guys are they're like a number 3 or 4 gadget players. Come on, if you're going to criticize Lamar Jackson, criticize Josh Allen as well, because Josh Allen's accuracy is not that good. Now, in the clutch, he gets better with his accuracy. He gets better throwing at times. So that's what I'm saying. We have to stop listening to the media and actually look into what is real and what's not. The misconceptions and half-truths are they want you to believe that Lamar Jackson is not an effective thrower of the ball. They've put that out there because they want to get Lamar Jackson out the league. They don't want him to be the norm. They have to protect their position, which is white. And you guys can think it's not a race thing. It's always a race thing. I always go back to this thing. Why is it called black pepper and white salt? Why is there colorization when it comes to everything? Let's look at the Deshaun Watson thing. Why is Deshaun Watson being dragged through the mud when it's only a civil suit? None of these have been brought to the police. The police still don't have Bugsby. He hasn't filed any charges with the police because guess what? These are allegations. The civil suits are for damages and money. This isn't a criminal case. But see, they want you to believe it is to damage a guy like Deshaun Watson. It's easier to damage a black quarterback than it is a white quarterback. The white quarterback is perceived as highly intelligent, very strong, very physical, can take a hit. You understand what I'm saying? Got a strong jaw, a good-looking white guy. That is what is embedded in your mind. And it's not your fault, white people. It's not your fault that you were taught this. This has been embedded in you since the beginning of time. And a lot of y'all might disagree with this video. It's going to be an idiot to come out of nowhere and go left field and didn't listen to the video at all, but just assuming something instead of taking what I said, which is context. It is. It's very context. And it's not out of bounds. It's very in bounds what I'm saying. Josh Allen's first 2 seasons, he threw the ball terribly. But you didn't hear them saying he can't throw the ball. You didn't hear them saying that he's not able to handle himself at the position. But when Lamar Jackson, who has thrown over 60% of his passes, completed 60% of his passes, he said he can't throw. But he's made great throws. He's gotten the ball downfield. His receivers have dropped passes. His receivers have ran the route wrong, but we don't give him that benefit of the doubt. We basically blast him and say, you know what, he's just a running back throwing the ball. And that's the diss that continues to go on. They made these jokes about Michael Vick back in the day. They said these same jokes about Randall Cunningham. Man, coach, I throw it as good as him. A receiver who said that. Well, if you throw it better than them, how about you being a receiver, go to quarterback and see how tough it is? I bet you wouldn't last the game. We seen what happened when they put that receiver in for that team. I think it was, I forgot the team name, that lost all their quarterbacks. Yeah, Denver. Denver had a receiver out there who ran just as fast as Lamar. And what did he do? Diddly squat. So let's stop with the dissing and the name calling, and let's be for real. The only reason that the people aren't going to the Ravens is because they don't want to go to the Ravens, because the perception being put out there by white mainstream media and white people in general is that Lamar Jackson isn't good and isn't going to get you the ball throwing. It's the facts. But looking at their numbers, career-wise, let's look at their QB record. Lamar Jackson is 30-7. Josh Allen is 28-15. And Josh Allen has had the better defense and the better supporting cast. He has. But Lamar Jackson has fewer losses and more wins than Josh Allen. Now, yards, Josh Allen's at 9,000 compared to Lamar's 7,000 because Lamar runs the ball a lot more. Interceptions, for a career, Lamar Jackson has thrown less. He's at 18 compared to Josh Allen's 31. The QB rating, Josh Allen's at 90 compared to Lamar Jackson's 103. So why is it that Lamar Jackson is being destroyed while Josh Allen is being praised? I'll let you fill in the blanks. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this, hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you like what you hear, you could donate to the page. You could cash at me at the word welcome, the number 2, and an HDIITV. And let me know in the comment section, do you believe that Lamar Jackson, will he get better with the number 1 receiver? Or do you believe that they don't need a receiver, that they're just going to be a running team? And who would you take in the long run, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, if you had to choose? We are out. Deezy.